Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzz webinar, using technology to build a scalable appraisal business, sponsored by Jaro. We have some great hosts for you today. We have Gareth Borcherds, the Managing Director of Ascent Software Group, Shane Weber, the Vice President of Missouri Property Appraisal, and Jessica Sturm, the EVP of Opteon Appraisal. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Jen. Looking forward to it.
Gareth, why doesn't everybody tell us a little bit about their history in the industry and how they ended up here? I'll start with you.
Perfect. So yeah, original founder of Ascent Software Group, which runs the Jaro platform. And I've been building or working in the appraisal industry for over a decade now, building mainly AMC software to start. Now that we run Jaro, we do a lot more than that with lender software and staff appraisal software. And I also ran an AMC for a couple of years. So definitely been around the industry for a long time now, and really love working with appraisers. Part of why I got into the industry and keep building tech here is because I feel like the life of the appraiser can be better with good technology. And quite honestly, not anybody was building any good technology for the appraiser. So really happy to be here talking to my two good friends here that are customers of ours, and being able to share some of the stuff that we've learned in building technology as an appraisal company.
Shane, do you want to go next?
Sure thing. So I started as an appraiser trainee back in 2004. This was before they required a trainee license. I was certified in 2005. Over the years, I've just gained interest, gained knowledge in appraising. I've worked for Missouri Property Appraisal that whole time, and I've moved into an ownership position in the last couple of years. So quite some time in appraising. Prior to that, I have a little bit of construction and military background.
All right, and Jessica?
Hello, I'm Jessica Sturm. I am an appraiser. I've been an appraiser for a little over 20 years now. I am an appraiser in Illinois. I started my career as that, doing appraisals, and over time worked with a firm where we continue to expand into more and more locations, right? So eventually we were in multiple states, and we had a really large firm. The firm that I worked for was acquired by Opteon about 2 years ago. And so that's where we are right now.
Well, thank you guys so much. So let's get started with some of the questions. We have a couple pre-seated, but audience, please give us your questions. We're going to start talking about technology, but let's talk a little bit first. Jessica, I'll let you keep going. Tell us a little bit about what it's like building and running a staff appraisal firm, and what some of the most important things are to you as the leader of that company.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Opteon Appraisal is a nationwide W-2 staff appraisal firm. We have a mixture of trainees, certified appraisers, cert gens, and we're located all around the U.S. Right, so I think that one of the most important things to building the staff firm, hold on, poll question, is just the development of the team, right? Finding the leaders who are going to lead the staff appraisers. It's important to the success, right? Having a large staff firm with appraisers all around the country and in different locations, different areas, different markets, it can be challenging. So we've set up a team with leaders who are centrally located to where their staff appraisers are. And through building these teams, we've focused on the development and training of our appraisers, right? We have what's known as what we call Opteon U, and Opteon U focuses on our cadet training and on our appraiser training. So focusing on this is one of the most important things that I think that we need to succeed in the staff business. I also do think it's important for me that my appraisers know that they have support, right? So as a staff appraiser, you're part of a team. You have access to the resources that we have, the training, all of the team members. We don't want appraisers to feel like they're on an island, and a lot of appraisers do feel that way, right? So when you work with a larger firm like Opteon, it opens you up to the support, and that's really a top priority for me. I want you to feel part of something. And, you know, it's tricky, right? Because we're not in the same location, we're all remote, but we really thrive on creating that culture of team.
And Shane, we'll give you the same question. What's it like for you building and running a staff appraisal firm?
Sure. Well, as I said in my introduction, I wasn't involved in the building of the company, but as far as running it, you know, providing a value, a lot of appraisers have a hard time understanding why you would work for a staff firm. You know, why share that fee? You know, so you have to offer value. We have staff on hand. We have the technology to back it up. We try to take a lot of the administrative tasks off the appraisers. You know, the client interaction. We basically have mediators between them. So providing a service to appraisers, making it worth that split. So continuing to research new ways to increase their efficiency, anything to make their job easier, whether it's with technology or staff, marketing staff, IT staff, just trying to take a lot of that administrative burden off the appraisal process.
And then Gareth, I know that you're not with a AMC or staff appraisal firm now, but you used to run it. So tell us a little bit about how you've incorporated into that with the technology that you do run.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing for me, especially when you think about whether you're part of an office or you're independent, really trying to get appraisers doing the value-added stuff, the stuff where you actually make your money. There's a ton of stuff that appraisers do in their day-to-day life that they don't necessarily have to do. You spend a lot of time doing data entry. You spend a lot of time searching and finding data and doing things, stuff that technology can solve. And I think in reality, like for me, the biggest part of why I want to build appraisal technology is because it's an easy place for us to find ways to benefit the lives of people. And as I've grown in technology, I've always wanted to make lives better through technology. And there's definitely a lot of stuff that we can do to serve an underserved population of people. And that's what I'm really passionate about and what, you know, we do at Jaro. And it's a lot of fun trying to solve all the problems that appraisers deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Well, speaking of the problems, that kind of goes into our next question. Let's start with you again, Gareth. What do you think are some of the top issues that are happening in our appraisal industry right now?
Yeah, so obviously when you look at the appraisal industry, there's a ton of stuff going on around appraisal modernization and stuff that's being pushed by the GSEs. But then again, mortgage rates are extremely high and volumes are down. And so there's a lot more non-QM lending going on. There's a lot of conversations being had about diversifying outside of the GSE work. And I think really, to sum it up, high interest rates is obviously a problem. The low volume is a problem for everybody in the industry right now. But the second part is dealing with the pressures and the changing in the industry around the appraisal modernization. And no matter where you stand on it, there's a lot that we have to, understand that the GSEs are going to push what they need to push. And it's definitely something that we need to figure out how, as an industry, we're going to move forward to solve these problems and work with these people to create better results for everybody. Because at the end of the day, we have to provide the best collateral risk report that we can on property. And it's going to look different in the future is really what I think is going to happen.
All right, we've got another poll. Whoops. We got another poll that popped up for everyone. Jessica, same question to you. What are some of the issues that you're seeing in the industry?
The stuff that Gareth was talking at the end is kind of my thoughts. I think that as an industry, appraisers need to come together, right? And I think appraisers have a hard time knowing where to go to have their voices heard. I also feel that it shouldn't matter, if you decide that you want to be a panel appraiser or if you are a staff appraiser or who you get your work from, right? Like in the end, we all hold the same professional license and we all need to come together as an industry if we want to see the change. And that's kind of the people part of it, right? I go to the appraiser part of it and And that's kind of what I'm seeing right now, right? And I just want everyone to come together as one industry.
Yeah, and Shane, same question for you.
Well, I'd say the current struggle is obvious. The reduced workload, is really you're getting some pushback on fees. Trying to get reasonable and customary fees for appraisal work is a struggle right now. And researching alternative products. We've been talking to a lot of local lenders about doing some of their in-house products, in-house valuations, on a limited scope appraisal report. Diversifying what you're doing. Not everything needs to be a full URAR. Being open to clients' needs, being open to some alternative valuation products.
Well, and I guess that Shane goes in perfectly for our next question is, how have you adapted your processes to address the challenges of technological advancements? So, I mean, kind of continue on that.
Well, yeah, most of our appraisers are using mobile technology in the fields for inspections to prevent all the transcribing when you get back to the office. We try to utilize whatever technology we can find, whether it's software or whether it's devices. Part of the staff appraiser firm. So we cover about half of the state of Missouri. We have appraisers spread out through all the state, and to keep everybody connected, you need some type of a software platform, which is we use Jaro Desk for that, and trying to keep those products available.
Yeah, and using Jaro, right? It's that one place, it's that one-stop shop for all of our appraisers to access, where we're keeping track of our notes, our inspection information, everything. It's that one-stop shop, right? And I think creating that process and having that one place for all of our staff appraisers to go to, right, to really streamline that process, is important. So just adding on to that a little bit, Shane.
Yeah.
Gareth, why don't you tell us a little bit, just for those people that don't know, how the streamline works in Jaro?
Yeah, thanks. So, we do have a fully fledged appraisal platform for appraisers, and we will be working on stuff here in the near future to allow independent contractors, ones that don't work as a part of a firm, to manage more of their business in our platform. But for the staff firm of any size, we have the ability to kind of organize the orders. We have integrations with a lot of platforms. We have really quick data entry, and then a lot of workflows that you can customize based on how you do things. So you can assign out tasks to, if you have admin staff that kind of pre-type reports or, get things ready. There's different ways that you can chunk up the work and develop your own process within there. But I also think it's important for everybody to understand that Jaro is building its own form tool, essentially. I don't want to use form. I think that's kind of a bad word, because most of the bad processes that I see in the appraisal world is because we focus too much on the 1004 and the 1073 and what it looks like, rather than the process of appraising. We're seeing some questions about dealing with bad data. Agents are terrible. We rely on MLS, and they don't really care about giving us accurate data, but then they complain about the fact that you used the wrong comp because you couldn't find it because they entered it wrong into the MLS. And all of these problems that go in there are the things that we're trying to solve. And part of what you'll see from us over the next year are a lot of tools in the marketplace. We'll be announcing very shortly, and I think we'll have an invite at the end of this to sign up for interest of allowing appraisers to complete some of these alternative products with new technology that we're bringing to market. Because at the end of the day, we really value appraisers and what they bring to the table. And our goal as a software provider is to just make it so that you're more efficient in everything you do. And that's not only the order, but all the way through your inspection tools to completing the report, comp searching, your comp analysis, better everything that you want to do. That's what we're building.
Yeah, and Gareth, you mentioned the forms. That is all completely changing soon. With what Fannie and Freddie are doing, there's not going to be any 1004s anymore. So, I think appraisers really need to have their eyes on what this is going to look like and how it's going to completely change. It's not going to be how it was.
Yeah, I mean, right now there's obviously a lot of conversation being had around the bifurcation and, having somebody do an inspection and an appraiser doing a desktop. And, at the end of the day, like, to me, some of that, there are some concerns around making sure that the data you get, you can trust, that we understand. There's, you're signing your name to a report, making sure you get that. But the reality is that you already rely on a lot of third-party data. And in a lot of cases, MLS data, because the agent's on, a biased provider of that, you're getting bad data in the core of your report, right? And I think that as we look forward to the future, we need to stop thinking about the output of our result, but more just the skills that go into how we evaluate a property, how we come to that value, and let software figure out how to package that up. Because I actually think it's a good thing that we can develop new products and kind of get away from the 1004 as the standard form for a single family, because there's a lot of lenders out there that are clamoring for better collateral risk analysis from an appraiser that doesn't involve a full 1004. They need things like like rental form analysis. They need desktop appraisals. They need verification of an AVM value. They're quicker, cheaper ways to evaluate the collateral risk, because at the end of the day, our lenders that we serve are credit risk lenders, right? They're not really collateral lenders. Collateral is a part of it, but it's really a function of credit. And people that have good credit don't need as much of a collateral risk evaluation. So if we can learn as an industry to adapt our products outside of this form to more of just what does the customer need and how can I provide that as an appraiser, that's when we're going to start seeing success. Now we've got to continue with, the compliance parts of that. There's some comfort with the compliance parts of that, but that'll all figure itself out. And I think that as we get better technology in place where you get better error messages or better compliance built into the report that you're building, I think those concerns will go away and we can just get back to doing what we do, which is valuing property and evaluating collateral.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And Jessica, kind of on that topic, how is Opteon integrating some of this technology into their processes?
Yeah, so we've been integrating, any new technology that comes out since I can remember, right? We would try to implement them. Some of them stuck, some of them didn't. We currently use, comp importing technology right now, right? Or tech, which helps us input the comps, right? Efficiency. It also helps create some market, driven data, which helps our appraisers be able to make, informed adjustments. But also some of the other stuff we're using is we are using Jaro's inspection application right now for our staff appraisers, and they're using that to collect photos and all the data from the field right now. And we're also using Jaro's technology to do the 1004D and be able to deliver that from the field. So we've really taken the past few months and worked through training and processes and rolled it out to our staff. It's important. I felt that rolling out technology in smaller segments and smaller pieces is much easier to do than just having this huge technology that's completely different than anyone's ever done before. It's not that easy, right? So if we can roll out little things at a time and we can show how that helps improve efficiencies, right? And helps make us a better appraisers, is kind of how we've started to implement that technology into Opteon.
And Shane, same thing. How are you implementing the technology for what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that, but I do look forward to those features that Opteon and Jaro to be released to everybody. Jessica mentioned 1004Ds, being able to submit those even from the field. A lot of times final inspections are a huge rush. They're waiting on it to close. So having a way to submit that right from the property would be a great feature. So yeah, we're, Jaro, they've tailored it quite a bit for us. We're a smaller appraisal firm in comparison to Opteon. and they've customized it and tailored it. Gareth got lots of emails from me at first, trying to get things tweaked and changed to where it worked well for us, and they've done a great job with it. And we're certainly looking forward to features that they have coming out.
Well, Gareth, do you want to start jumping into some of the questions that have coming in on the Q&A? Is there any that you see there that you want to grab?
Yeah, there was one question about just elaborating on diversifying products for panel appraisers. And I think it kind of goes along with what Shane was just talking about there from a platform perspective. I mean, one of the hardest things about building technology, honestly, is making sure that we get it right? So that when you're using it, you're not having to go through some of the pain. I mean, Shane and their team, when they onboarded, they have the resources to work through some of that and working with us to do that. And we need those good initial customers to help us refine our product. And Opteon, their staff firm, tests a lot of our products up front. So that way, when we do roll it out to Shane and the rest of the team, that they're working already and they can just implement those and go. But I do want to just talk about this diversifying products for panel appraisers. Maybe ask Sturm, Ms. Sturm here, if she could respond a little bit to how they're looking at this, both on the staff side and even a little bit speaking for your sister company that's an AMC, of how you're trying to diversify products for your appraisers across the board.
Yeah, and someone did ask that question in the Q&A earlier, if Opteon was an AMC. Opteon does have an AMC vertical, and Opteon has a staff vertical. So they're two separate companies, just so everyone's aware of that. But we're constantly looking right now for new products, right? How do we diversify the products that we currently have? And what do we need to develop or roll out to panel and staff appraisers, right? The market, Gareth touched on this earlier as well, right? The market is shifting and changing, and our customers need different products. Just doing a 1004 or a 1073 may not be the future of appraising, right? So developing the PDR, PDC, and having our staff appraisers be able to complete that is something that is hopefully happening after the first of the year here. But we want to get that in staff and appraiser hands, right? So it's just another product that will help give the staff more work, right? My job is to get as much revenue in the door to get appraisers work, right? And we know that work is down right now. So working on desktop forms, right? Short forms, different types of drive-by forms, just products that our customers are looking for right now. So that's kind of where we are on developing different products. Does that help answer the question, Gareth?
Yeah. I talked to some bank presidents around here, and they do a lot of in-house evaluations for some of those lower risk loans. But even they've been telling me that, if and when the market does start to downturn, auditors aren't going to like those in-house evaluations. They're going to want to see something with an appraiser signature on it. So I think there's a huge market out there for these additional services, additional products, and appraisers need to be open to doing those.
I don't know if this question would be more for you, Shane and Jessica, but they asked how you handle W-2 salaries of staff appraisals during this downturn.
My response is pretty simple. We don't have salaried appraisers. All our appraisers are on fee splits, commission only fee splits. So, we make every attempt to market our services, keep the workflow coming in. Obviously, you can't create work where there isn't work, but we do the best we can to make ourselves available and get our appraisers approved on panels, get them approved with new lenders in the area, whatever we can do to get our volume of work.
Yeah, I'll second that. At this point, our appraisers are paid an hourly and production based pay. So there are no salaries, but you're compensated for the time that you're spending. If you're doing full-time work and you're completing that many appraisals, then you're gonna, it would be similar to a salary, right? But we currently don't have salaries at this time either.
All right. Gareth, do you see any of the other questions that have come in that you want to take a stab at?
Yeah, I what's that one?
There's one about a tablet, Gareth, or
Yeah, so
you want to use an iPhone?
yeah. So, just talking about some of the technology that we have coming out, you will be able to use for, specifically PDR, PDC inspections. We do have an announcement coming out shortly. And in fact, we will invite you at the end, like I mentioned, to fill out a survey if you're interested. We have a strong preference on some of these alternative products to start with appraisers. Even though they don't require appraisers to do it, we think appraisers are uniquely qualified to go through and identify the right stuff in these PDC products. And so we're going to start by trying to get the technology in your hands. But a tablet, an iPad Pro, the extra screen space does make the inspection stuff a little bit easier to manage. There's a lot of appraisers that like that. That are doing it, but we also make it work on phones. One of the things that we try and do with all of our technology is to support as many different devices and things that we can. To that end, there's another question about what report software we can import to. We've got some products also launching that you'll be able to do through the WinTotal store. And we are going to be looking at integrating with ACI in the near future as well. With Bradford ClickForms. And of course, we'll have our own software that will be coming out on the heels of all of that. But we do want to integrate with all of it because we know that it's hard to implement new technology. And to what Jessica said, a big part of how we like to try and launch things is to make it to where you can bite off a little bit as much as you want to do. So you don't have to necessarily adopt an entire new system. You can do part of it using some new stuff that we've got, and then you can, finish it in your current software. The idea here is to be as most effective as you can throughout all of this. And it's important to just make sure that when you're evaluating technology and looking at stuff, like I would encourage appraisers to ask, does this actually save me time, right? And evaluate how much time does it save, and is that worth the cost, right? Because a lot of times, I think sometimes appraisers worry about the fee for something there, but I think if you were to do the math about how many hours a month a certain technology feature could save you and what that cost is, I bet you that it's actually less than your per hour cost, right? So obviously volumes are low now, and that's maybe a little bit less of an investment, but I think every appraiser should be preparing for when the next uptick in volume comes, because as we all know, it will come again. And when we do that, you will be able to be more productive. What I would love to see is, even if there is fee pressure coming down, I look at it on a per hour basis, right? And how many hours does it take you to complete an appraisal report? And if you're an appraiser that can do 30 reports in a month, I'd love that in 2 years, when things are busy again and we forget about all this stuff, that you're doing 60 reports a month and in the same amount of time without killing yourself. And I don't want fees to go down 50%, but they're probably going to come down a little bit. But at the same time, if you're doing on a per hour basis more volume, you could actually be making more today for the same amount of work, or more in the future for the same amount of work. So anyway, I hope that's helpful in how we look at that technology. I think that to that point, right, as we look at, there's a question that just popped in about, expect the PDC work to be in a few years. In reality, I think that it's hard to estimate where they want to go. At a recent conference, MBA, somebody from Fannie, I believe Justin, talked about kind of having a target goal of around 10% by the end of next year in the market. One thing that I would just point out, the PDC work is actually net new work in most cases, right? Because over the last couple of years, during the COVID era, waivers went to, about 40% of volume, right, of total loan volume. And that was work that you weren't getting anyway. But the GSEs, what they want to do is they want to take that 40% and they want to open up 30% of that, or most of that work, and only get waivers down to 10%. And then they want you to do these PDC products on that other, percentage of work there. And so, a lot of times we think about this cannibalizing work. I actually think that in the long term, this provides more potential work. It also gives you work that you can give trainees as you bring them on, because they can go complete these on their own. I think there's a lot of other benefits, because we still need to solve some problems about getting more appraisers in the industry, increasing capacity, and all of that other stuff. I would like to throw that question over, maybe to Shane and Jessica, in terms of what you think and where you see the future of not just the PDC, but all alternative products, right? Like GSE work and how that goes.
That's certainly hard to predict. They've been talking about the bifurcated, which now they call hybrid appraisals. There seems to be a pretty big pushback on that from a large appraiser population. And you touched on that a little bit earlier, Gareth, about people not wanting to use third-party data. But we do every day, whether it's MLS data, county data. We use third-party data all the time. And I think the point of a lot of those hybrids is not really to get a cheaper product, but a faster one. If they've already got the information on the home, they can order a desktop appraisal and ideally get it back in just a couple of days. So I do think there's going to be a lot opening up on the hybrid, the property data collection. Who they're getting to collect the data. They are background checked. If they're going in houses, they do have background checks. There are several companies out there doing these. We've reached out to a couple of them to see if it's something that we could implement into our products. They do typically are lower fees. There's quite a wide range, but there's going to be a lot more of that for sure. And I think it's better than not being involved in the process at all, like you said, Gareth. Jessica, you have something on that?
I was just going to say that someone just posted a question in here asking, like, why is it an advantage to them to be part of this? But if this is the way our industry is going, and us as an appraisers can do the PDR, PDC part of the product, then that's what we need to do, right? It may not be what we want to do or what we've always known to do or what we've always done, but if that's the way the industry is going, then we need to accept that and be a part of it.
I would also say that, like, right now, I think there's a lot of misinformation that's going on around these products and what's going on. I mean, the reality is that the true PDC product is still not even 2% of volume across the board,
small.
right? And the people that are fulfilling it right now, it's a very new industry. And I think there's a lot of the tech providers, unfortunately, are trying to compete on price. I don't know if the quality is quite to where the GSEs want it to be. It's a new product. I would encourage every appraiser out there to give this some time to mature a little bit, because the GSEs are pushing this and they've got a lot of weight to do that, and so they're going to push adoption faster than would be normal in normal markets. But at the end of the day, it's still very new, right? And I think there's only a handful of vendors that are in this, and so it's kind of a monopoly. So pricing's not that good. But there's also a lot of lenders that are not even getting into this process yet, because they do want appraisers completing these reports. They don't want agents. They don't want, unqualified people in their mind. They want to have a better understanding of what that is. And so I would just encourage everybody to play this out, see where this goes. And again, with all technology, right? The reality is that we're in another step of change. And I'm sure that when licensing came back in the late 80s, early 90s, that there was a lot of change that was done when that happened, right? And the processes where trainees might have been doing your inspections without you even there, and other things there. These things are going to change, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that you won't find a way to adjust and that the market's not going to allow you to continue to make volume. The reality is right now things aren't all that great. for the industry as a whole, right? We're all suffering because of mortgage rates. And I think we just need to be looking forward to what's next and where can we add value. And I think the teams and the appraisers that understand that and they start to work towards being more efficient, delivering a good experience, working on whatever product they can, are going to be the ones that really succeed as volumes do pick back up.
For sure.
If I could, there's another question that came in that was to the staff appraisal firms. How important is keeping clients informed of the status of assignments, reducing interruptions to the appraiser's work process, and how has technology helped this? And I couldn't ask for a better question to queue up some of the features of Jaro Desk. So I'd love to
That's why I
hear the
moved
feedback.
that question to the top, Gareth.
Right.
I like it. If we could, let Shane and Jessica talk a little bit about, their value add as an office and how technology kind of solves that problem.
Sure. Prior to moving to Jaro, we had a system. It was actually a massive access database that we used to track all our orders. You have limitations with that. We made the jump over to Jaro, a year and a half ago, Gareth, something around there. And we're not even utilizing all the features that it has regarding client interaction. What we are utilizing is, we try to prevent clients from contacting our appraisers directly. When you're involved in the appraisal and your phone rings, no matter how long that conversation is, it breaks your concentration. You just lost 20 minutes or more on that report. So our appraisers continue to keep the Jaro platform updated with status. That's relayed to the client by other staff. Additionally, Jaro has the option for client logins. So if we have, a lender who's got one person that's handling all their appraisal orders, we can give them a login to our system. They can log in whenever they want and get real-time status on their appraisals that we have for them. So, yeah, interruptions during the appraisals are time-consuming. They're inconvenient. We all know how frequently lenders will ask for status updates. I'll get a status update an hour after I get the appraisal. I'm like, I have no status. I've got the report. I've got the appraisal request. So constant status updates. So yeah, if there's a way to automate those updates to clients, that right there is huge. Jaro has a lot of integration options. We've been testing that a little bit, seeing how we can get that to work with our process, but very interested in that as well, where an appraiser can post a comment in the Jaro system, and that'll automatically go out to the portal or go out to whatever system that client's using. So automated updates, automated client interaction, that's very useful technology and very, very time saving on the appraiser part.
Yeah, and we could even take it one step further. Now all of our appraisers have the application, right, that they're using to complete their inspections with. They can also now enter that data directly into the app from the field, and they're filling it in, and it's getting uploaded into Jaro Desk. We've also created, Jaro Desk has bots, and the bots will send automatic messages when they're set up properly. So we've created customer facing bots, which that land at customer landing pages, right? So we've set up specific landing pages for all of our customers. So when our appraisers are doing a report for a specific customer, it will automatically link them to the customer landing page. And then on that customer landing page, it has specific requirements that customer requires, or top revisions that we see back from that customer, just more specific information. So that's actually helped with our customer experience as well as our appraiser experience as they're working and completing their reports.
One of the comments in here, Gareth, not really a question, but it is a point of discussion. Someone said you'll never increase the number of trainees until AMCs and lenders basically get on board with trainees. And he's right. That is a roadblock. But I am seeing, as somebody who has supervised and trained 4 appraisers to certification, there are getting to be more and more AMCs and lenders on board, I think. Even some of the bigger ones, Amrock, Solidify, they allow trainees.
Mhm.
So, but that is important. And it is a struggle sometimes when you have a trainee finding lenders that will allow them to be involved in the process. But yeah, I agree with that.
I think it's really important for our industry as we move forward to bring in the trainees. They are the future of our industry. We all needed a mentor at some point that brought us in. I know I did, and I'm thankful for that, right? But they're not there to harm us. They're there to help us, right? And they're there to continue this, industry and keep going with it. So we developed what we call CAP program, which is our cadet appraiser program, which is a tiered approach that our cadets go through to become, as they're going through their certification. So it's separate from actual qualifying education, but it's another program. It's another step in teaching them appraisals.
Yeah, there was a question about whether or not Jaro will get into the trainee thing, and I will say that the pandemic was good for this trainee problem because of the capacity issue. So many more lenders were open to trainees for the first time, just to try and get capacity and some other things that we're going through. I know that the Opteon AMC side of things went through and actually had a conversation with every one of their customers, trying to get them and convince them to use trainees so that they could get more of that business there. And the reality is like, as a software company trying to improve the lives, we want to take an active role in helping bring trainees to the market, right? There's a lot of questions coming in and stories about the current technology out there. Jaro will actually be launching its first course for PDCs pretty soon as part of what we're doing in bringing that technology to market. And we are going to create kind of our own certification program to make sure that if we don't use an appraiser on a PDC assignment, that they've gone through a rigorous training program and that we validated and qualified them as this, because at the end of the day, it's not a step forward in our industry if we don't figure out ways to, again, bring more people into the industry and make sure that they're trained and qualified. And, the trainee system has its advantages and disadvantages. One of the reasons why I like staff firms is that they're better equipped to train trainees and bring them into the industry. But at the same time, companies like ours has to do a better job of supporting that and making it easier for trainees to get into the industry, making it easier to manage them and work with appraisers and going through and doing that. And to that end, I think if I could just sum up a couple of the questions that are being asked, which is, about some of our technology specifically. One of the things that I would say and how we are building our technology, and I think Jessica can attest to this, it's very different than, in a lot of cases, than anything that you're used to, because we don't think of this as a form software. It's a process, right? So if you're doing data collection, you do data collection once. If you tell me an attribute of the property, you never have to type in that attribute of the property in the 4 other places that the form asks you to do it. Let the software take care of a lot of that stuff for you. And to that end, we will be making an announcement shortly about our floor plan technology that's coming to market. I think you're going to find that it's a significant improvement over some of the stuff that's out there today, because we understand the limitations of how some of the other products have come to market. And we want to create a technology solution that is way more usable and also can be verified by the appraiser on site while they're there. You don't have to wait for these videos to be processed elsewhere. It's important to us to make sure that when you go out and do your work, that you're able to verify and do everything there so that you only do it once. And I think that that's the most important thing that we've been talking about today is like technology, if it's doing its job, you're only doing a task once, and then the technology takes it from there. And if you're only doing something once, you're going to be way more effective.
Gareth, a lot of appraisers are very loyal to their tape measures. With this new 3D scanning technology and the other options out there, do you have any words of comfort that can assure them that it's okay to use technology versus a 100-foot tape measure?
Well, I would say that, quite honestly, your wheel or your tape measure, even some of the laser stuff, right? They all have their limitations and aren't always 100% accurate. The reality is the stuff that we'll be talking about. I personally tested it recently on a 5,000 square foot house. It took me 45 minutes to do the entire house, not the 2 or 3 hours that some of the other providers do. And then I verified every room with a disto afterwards, and I was never more than 4 inches off from what the technology was. And I think that's an important thing here, right? Is that as we look at the technology that we're building, like, it's not good enough to just do something that uses technology. If we're going to bring something to market, we're going to make sure that it's a significant time improvement over what it is that you're doing. The final inspection app that we'll be rolling out with our inspect here shortly as well, that Jessica's team has been testing for us. Final inspections. We had one appraiser do 7 final inspections in 1 day and never touched his form software because he did them all on his phone. That's the kind of stuff that we're after. True, significant, important, work that you're doing, and getting the kind of more of the mundane stuff out of there, so that, again, you're doing the value add stuff. You're not getting paid to do data entry. You're getting paid to analyze data. So if we can get you the data in your hands so that you don't, in a way that you can analyze it without you having to do that data entry, that's just time you're saving to actually make money on what you get paid to do. Let's see here. Just reading through a lot of the questions.
Gareth, this week alone, we've had a big bump in the usage of the 1004D from the field, right? Because we're giving it that final push to get full adoption. But over the past 3 days, I think they were turned in within like 20 minutes. 20 minutes from the time they inspected it to the time it was delivered to the customer. So the stats prove it. It's delivering from the field, and it's delivering quickly.
And that's through the Jaro platform.
And it's really exciting. Yeah. And it's a customer need, right? Yep.
100%. Maybe Jessica, you could answer this question. Shane, I know you guys focus on Missouri, so maybe Jessica talk a little bit about, how, getting back to a staff question, how do you hire appraisers remotely to work outside of your current market area and expand areas that you're working in?
Yeah. So, in all transparency, we're not just going to go hire appraisers in every location possible, because if we don't have work there, then it's not going to be beneficial to anybody, right? So we're really trying to focus on areas where our customers are building, right? For our new construction customers, or on where our AMC has work to potentially feed our staff business. So we're pretty strategic about the locations, especially now with the amount of volume currently, being that it's November and going into December here, but also not stopping recruiting efforts so that we are ready in the locations that we need once we get into the spring.
And we're kind of in the same boat there. We obviously we can't take on a trainee that we don't have a supervisor available in that area. Really, we find a trainee right on the edge of our coverage area, that we do have somebody close enough to train them, mentor them, to where then when they're certified, then they can go a little bit further than where we have been. So yeah, same situation with the rules of supervision. You really can't hire someone that remote. There has to be somebody available to mentor them.
But no matter in what location that we hire an appraiser in, you are still part of one of our 4 regional teams, right? So you still have a regional manager, and you still have all the appraisers that are located in that office and in that region as your support staff, right? And we have monthly meetings, and we have monthly trainings, and there are things that you will be a part of. So just because you're remote and in a location where there is not another staff appraiser, you still are part of our team.
Thank you for that. I think we're kind of getting towards the end of the hour here, Jim. If we could, maybe just end on some final thoughts from everyone. Just some final thoughts about the industry, some things to consider, and maybe some words of encouragement to the appraisal community.
Who are you asking that to, Gareth?
Let's have everybody. Let's go Shane and then Jessica, and then I can finish last.
Everybody's wants some words of encouragement today. Nobody really knows what's going on. Rates are high. They appear to have stopped increasing, which is wonderful. A lot of reports I've read saying that they'll decline quite a bit next year. It's election year. That's going to have an impact on that. So the face of appraisals are changing for sure. But I think there's going to be a need for appraisers for many, many years to come. We're analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And whether the property inspections are going to be always done by us in the future, maybe not, but somebody still needs to do that analysis. And with being in Missouri anyway, data is very limited. There's no really one-stop shop for data here, and that's an advantage to appraisers because it's pretty hard to replace us, at least in Missouri, not in the metropolitan areas. So I think there's going to be a need for appraisers for many years to come.
On to me. I just want to talk a little bit real quick about the success of some of the technology and as we're using it and how we're seeing it being successful, right? I now have staff appraisers coming to us and saying, like, if I didn't have that, I don't know how to operate anymore. I need that tech that you've provided me. It's making me this more efficient. It's helping me, get faster. So we're seeing the switch to where technology is not necessarily like the monster, right? They're actually enjoying using the technology and having champions within our company that we are now using to get that last group of people who are fighting it, right? So technology is our friend. It is here to help us be more efficient, and it's not the enemy. So I just want, I want to be open to change as we move forward, right? Because we don't know where the industry will go. So we just need to continue to be open.
Well, thanks, Jessica and Shane. I would just end with some thoughts in the sense that one of the things that we all have to do is realize that we are a community, right? And there's a lot of negativity in the appraisal industry. I think that comes from being on an island as an appraiser for the most part, right? You guys spend a lot of time traveling in your car, doing things, but in a downturn like this and slow volume, these are the times to look at how you do things and to make improvements, because you actually have the time to focus on it, maybe learn some new technology and do some things. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But I will say that there is a lot of advantages to have out there. And, from the Jaro perspective, we're probably the most pro appraiser company that does software out there, because we realize that we're only as valuable as the ability to get the actual appraisal done. And whether it's an AMC or a lender that's a customer, they're there and they're part of our business. But we know that to be truly effective and to truly make a difference in the industry, that we need appraisers to be more effective and to have a happier life with their technology and how they do things. And so I would just encourage all the appraisers, to go ahead and look at what's out there, pay attention to what's going on. There's a lot of things that can benefit you, and it never hurts to try things. And just make sure that we're working towards building a community as we go through whatever the mortgage market has got to bring over the next couple of years.
Well, thank you so much, Gareth, Shane, and Jessica. I'm going to put a pop-up for anybody that wants to try out Jaro. wants to get in contact with them, I'm putting that up now, so that should be popping up on your screen. You can click that link and fill out your information, and they'll get back to you. But we really appreciate the time from all of our presenters today. It was a great webinar. Sorry to any questions we didn't get to. We got a ton of questions, but we really appreciate everyone's time today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.